Hey everybody, welcome to FoundFlix. This time on Ending Explained, we'll be looking at one that so many of you guys voted on, M. Night Shyamalan's The Visit, where two kids go to meet their grandparents and things become increasingly more bizarre until the end reveals the sinister truth. But first, it's time to vote for the next Ending Explained. One choice is A Ghost Story, where a deceased white-sheeted ghost returns to his suburban home to try to reconnect with his bereft wife. Your other choice is the Stephen King adaptation of Gerald's Game, where after a sex game gone wrong, a woman is left handcuffed to the bed where she is forced to survive on her own. Which would you like to see me do next? Make sure to vote in the comments below. And for any other video suggestions of any kind, send them my way on any of my social media accounts at FoundFlix. Thanks so much. Now on to The Visit, which I kind of think of as how M. Night got his groove back. It was with this movie that Shyamalan returned to independent filmmaking, and he is all the better for it. So what is the deal with the crazy grandparents anyway? That's the main question we wonder as we see their erratic and dangerous behavior throughout the film. And the movie does detail the reasoning behind their actions as well as who they really are. So let's take a trip to Nana and Pop Pop's, breaking down the story and explaining the ending for The Visit. The main subjects of the movie and those going on the visit are brother and sister Tyler and Becca. Many years ago, a big event occurred in their family that has had lasting damage to the both of them, which we see at the core of each's personal journey in the film. Many years ago, their dad fell in love with a barista and left their family, but their mother's parents didn't support her, saying they knew he had an impatient eye and would leave. After a brief fight, their mother left home at the age of 19 and has never spoken to her parents ever again. And this falling out, as well as their father leaving, has left a rupture in the family. The way this affects the kids is in a deeply impactful way, with each unable to move past this event. For Becca, she cannot forgive her father for leaving them, and that's why she won't use footage of him in her documentary she is working on about their family. By using the footage, that would mean that she had forgiven him. And since then, she has been seemingly uncomfortable in her own skin, typically hiding behind the lens of her camera and unable to look at herself in the mirror. For Tyler, he believes that people just go, and says he's not affected by what happened, but truly he feels he is in a way responsible for their father leaving. During a football game as a child in a crucial moment, Tyler froze on the field, unable to move, causing the other team to score and win the game. Afterwards, rather than being upset with him, his father said nothing. And Tyler believes it was his failure in the game that caused him to leave. He is in a way frozen in that moment on the field. He feels that he failed his father then and has been crippled by that feeling ever since. He's also become a total germaphobe, using paper towels to open bathroom doors and the like, and this is due to allowing Tyler to feel like he has some kind of control. As his father leaving was entirely out of his control, at least he can avoid all the deadly germs lingering all around us. And it's all of these major issues that the children will be forced to face in their journey, as suddenly out of the blue their mom's parents contacted her on the internet wanting to meet their grandchildren. And of course, due to them not talking for so long, they all have never met before. Both Tyler and Becca are interested in going, with Becca wanting to make a documentary about the experience. And it's through her lens's POV that the movie takes place. She's hoping by visiting them, she can capture her grandparents forgiving her mother on film as a way to finally bring closure to and move past their falling out all those years ago. So it's off they go, and the two take a train to Masonville, Pennsylvania. Along the way, we get to see Tyler's skills as a rapper. Yes, this little wiener kid thinks he's a hot shit MC. His freestyles in the movie fall somewhere between funny and utterly cringeworthy.
We share a Starbucks Frappuccino blend, and see, this isn't just philosophy, it's based on science, you see.
The hip-hop community thanks you, Tyler. They make it to town where they are welcomed warmly by the people they believe to be their grandparents. And at first, there is no cause to question their identity. They seem genuinely friendly and nice. Finding out the two volunteer as counselors at the local psychiatric hospital Mapleshade, Nana constantly baking for the kids, and Pop Pop's assuring them it's going to be a great week. Oh, but stay out of the basement, he says. There's mold down there. Mold. Sure, Pop Pops. Later that night, Pop Pops and Nana head to bed at the old person time of 9:30, and Pop Pop says having the two of them here is the happiest he's seen Nana in years. But we soon see that all is not right with the people they are staying with. When unable to sleep and desiring of delicious cookies, Becca descends into the darkened house, heading towards the stairs. Suddenly, Nana appears at the bottom of the stairs vomiting, and then vomiting a bunch more. Geez, gross, Nana. So obviously something ain't right with Nana. The next morning, the kids question Pop Pops about what they saw, but he says she's fine and just gets sick sometimes. But that's clearly not the case, as we see more examples of her erratic, odd behavior, including joining the kids in playing what should be a nice game of hide and seek under the house, but it is just way creepy for some reason. You see her scuttling all weirdly after the kids, going, well, what happens if she catches them? When pressing Pop Pops further to tell them what is really going on with her, he directly explains the reasoning behind her very strange behavior. She has a degenerative brain disorder, a kind of dementia called sundowning, that affects many elderly people. Also known as late-day confusion, its symptoms are increased at night, with the sufferer's confusion and agitation getting worse in the late afternoon and evening, and the symptoms being less pronounced in the day. That's why Nana is acting the way she is. Her brain is affected by this disorder, and its specific symptoms being affected by nightfall are why she mostly behaves strangely at night, usually after bedtime at 9:30. However, it seems that Nana has been mentally troubled for quite some time, with more going on beyond the sundowning, which is now acting as a catalyst working together, and both are increasing in intensity, leading to even more deranged encounters. Pop Pops isn't doing so hot either, suffering from schizophrenia, and we see in this scene he's putting on a tuxedo to catch the train to a costume party, as he says, but Becca tells him he must be confused because there is no party. He's clearly lost touch with reality. We also learn he has incontinence, which he is shameful of, having many accidents in diapers and hiding the stinky evidence in a big disgusting pile in the shed out back. At this point, the kids are more than a little concerned over these people's behaviors, but simply believe they are their grandparents who are suffering from mental illness and in need of help. They try to call their mom on vacation, but of course, Nana spilled something onto the computer's webcam, obscuring its view. And even though the kids tell her about the way the people have been acting, Mom doesn't seem too concerned, and is pulled away by a hairy man competition on the cruise ship. So it looks like the kids are on their own, even saying their mom seems better off without them. But at least they have each other to figure this thing out. Throughout the film, we see Tyler and Becca have a very close relationship, and this seems to be stemmed from their mother really not being a great mom, or just kind of being disconnected from them. Without her support, they bonded even more closely with each other, and support the other completely, with Becca even filling in as surrogate mom to Tyler, seen helping him clean pesky germs off his hand and reassuring him everything is okay until he calms down. One night they decide to leave a camera on the mantle to see for themselves what Nana is doing at night, and we witness her appearing in front of the camera, growling and snatching it. She then grabs a knife and walks upstairs with it, standing right outside of the kid's door, trying to turn the handle to get in. Yikes! Things have officially gotten dangerous here, guys. They better get the heck out of there. After seeing the footage the next day, the kids intelligently decide to stay away from their grandparents and say the trip is ending tonight, hoping to get their mom to pick them up sooner. Pretending to play catch outside, Pop Pops asks if everything is okay, and hoping not to raise any suspicion, Becca surprisingly decides to interview him for her documentary. And here in the interview we learn the source of Pop Pop's schizophrenia. He tells a story of back when he worked years ago, seeing a white thing with yellow eyes running around the building, and only he saw it. Nobody believed him about what he saw, and he was fired as a result. Clearly there was nothing there, and this white thing was being created by his mentally compromised brain. And this incident has haunted him ever since, causing him to over time lose himself completely to his schizophrenia and delusions. And at this stage, both he and Nana are no longer mentally in control of their sickness. Pop Pops appears a bit bummed in this scene, and when asked why by Becca, he says he's sad the trip is all over. I think what he means by this being the end is that they are going to kill Becca and Tyler. And that was their plan for them this whole time. And in their 6 states, this somehow all makes sense to them as they have become completely disconnected with reality. The grandparents' next actions back this up when Stacy, who knows the grandparents from the hospital and was also looking for them as they hadn't shown up to visit her a few days ago. She returns once again, seeing Nana and Pop Pops, and angrily talks to the two of them. The three walk off, but the kids later remark they never saw Stacy leave. And we see that's because they killed her hanging Stacy from a tree. But the kids don't know about that yet, and Becca stages a final interview with Nana, hoping to capture the elixir she has been seeking for her documentary, her grandparents finally forgiving their mother. And here we learn about the other side to Nana's mental illness that began long before the sundowning. Becca tells Nana to tell her anything, who proceeds to tell a crazy story about a pond with little creatures from another planet in it who are taking people and storing them and will one day take them back to their home planet. I know. What? Nana shrugs it off, saying it's just a story, but it's implied that she does believe this in her insanity. And it was this belief that caused her to drown her own children in a pond, putting them in a suitcase, as revealed later by Pop-Pops when confronting Becca. Confident she has the conclusion to her documentary, Becca calls Mom to pick them up and get out of Dodge. Mom is hesitant at first to come early, but then gets more concerned as they further describe the situation. And thanks to Becca fixing the webcam, they can finally show the two people to their mom. Frighteningly, she reveals those people aren't their grandparents. Uh-oh, well that's not good, and Mom calls the police, hurrying their way for help. Okay, I mean, of course these people aren't their grandparents. So who are they anyway? Well, it was mentioned that Tyler and Becca's real grandparents were volunteer counselors at the local hospital Mapleshade, which is a psychiatric hospital. We see people pop up at the house in the film like Stacy, who shows concern that the two have been missing for a few days. That's because the real grandparents were killed by two mental patients at Mapleshade who then escaped the facility. These are the two people that Tyler and Becca have been spending their week with, two murderous mental patients who killed their grandparents and assumed their identities. And after being untreated, their mental diseases have been unchecked and now completely taken them over. The kids still try to play innocent, joining their fake grandparents for a nice wholesome family game night of Yahtzee. But it gets weird quickly with Pop-Pops obviously shitting himself again and Nana chomping down on cookies in a very bizarre way. She later rolls the dice yelling Yahtzee right into the camera with Cookie all over her face. This moment is pretty memorable and downright nuts. Becca, having excused herself, finally checks out the forbidden basement, discovering two Mapleshade psychiatric hospital outfits, along with the two bodies of her grandparents in a pile of trash and a bloody hammer. Well, that definitely clarifies what I was referring to earlier. All the evidence is right there of these two being escaped patients who killed the real grandparents. Pop-Pops then appears in the basement, telling Becca that her real grandparents kept saying how excited they were the kids were going to visit, and this must be what caused the two to take over their grandparents' lives, wanting to see the kids for themselves. And Pop-Pop says they are now going to join Claire's children in the pond, that the white thing is real and is waiting in a field laughing at us. Well, obviously he's gone completely bonkers and attacks Becca, dragging her upstairs, passing by an injured Tyler lying on the ground, and bringing her to Nana's room, locking her inside. In the kitchen, Tyler is frozen in place, just like in that defining moment in the football game as a child, completely unable to move. Pop-Pops takes advantage of this, having pooped himself again, and takes the diaper, rubbing it all over Tyler's face. Thanks for the chocolate, Pop-Pops. What, this isn't chocolate in a diaper? Oh no. This is by far the most vile and disgusting part of the movie, and for Tyler the germaphobe, getting crap rubbed all over his face has to be one of, if not the worst things imaginable. Meanwhile, Becca is having to fend off Nana, who scurries around the room, hiding under the bed, clawing at her and growling. Then she appears on top, covered by the sheets, which looks really unsettling. She removes the sheets, attacking Becca, bashing her head into a mirror above the bed. They fight further under the sheets, and Becca repeatedly stabs her with a shard from the broken mirror, and Nana finally collapses on top of her dead. Back in the kitchen, Becca arrives, attacking Pop-Pops, but he quickly overpowers her. And in this desperate moment, Tyler finally springs to life, awoken from his frozen state, and tackles Pop-Pops, slamming the fridge door over and over on his head. Seeing his sister in danger is what it took for Tyler to finally step out of his freezing or inaction, which stems from his experience on the football field where he froze as a child. Tyler screams victoriously as they run outside in the rain, with police cars pulling up and are reunited with their mom, safe after all of the craziness. In our final scene, Becca interviews her mother, who reveals the details of what really happened with her parents all those years ago. After she left home, her parents did reach out to her hoping to make amends, but she refused their calls. Becca had been trying to get her mother forgiveness for them, but it was there whenever she wanted it. So it's entirely due to her mother's choice that she never reconciled with her parents, rather than what Becca had been under the impression of. She joins her mom, who tells her not to hold on to anger, and they hug emotionally, leading to footage of their dad with them as younger kids playing, indicating that Becca has now let go of her anger and forgiven her father. After this experience, Tyler and Becca have been able to forgive their father and themselves, and due to the extreme situation they were in, were able to overcome their particular emotional hang-ups. Becca is finally able to look at herself in the mirror, and Tyler no longer blames himself for his dad leaving, and grew emotionally past that moment at the game. So in a way, they should thank the crazy people for trying to kill them, because it led to some much needed growth for the two of them. Alright, that'll wrap it up for my ending explain on The Visit. If you have any other movie or TV shows you'd like to see me explain, let me know. What did you guys think of The Visit and its ending? What's your favorite M. Night film? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. Thanks for watching FoundFlix. See you next time.